Hello one, hello all. So today we're on a ride where we're not really going to visit any particular place, rather visit this bike by doing a review of the Benelli Leoncino 500, a 500cc 47 brake horsepower bike that is often described as a scrambler, but it's a lot more funkier than that, as I'll show you now with its aesthetics. The words mid come to mind when describing this bike. It's a mid-range, mid-heighted, mid-engine motorbike. Sitting at 500cc, you'd think it's underpowered, but actually not. It's not too heavy at 186 kilograms or thereabouts, though it could have been much lighter if it had been an aluminium trellis frame. They opted for steel to keep costs down, and it shows because it sits often around £5,000 new or thereabouts, and used one can purchase one around 4,000, maybe a little less. Personally and subjectively, I can tell you that I have found this a wonderful bike. It's a looker, it truly is. It's got a funky design, and the other thing to point out, which is one of its major pluses, is that it handles bends extremely well. You are on a bike that is perfect for those that are moving up from 125 to an A2 motorcycle, a larger engine bike, and it's perfect for those going down wanting something a little lighter. The design makes this look extremely Italian, though we all know that Benelli now has been purchased for some time by the Chinese, and the engineering is probably more Chinese than Italian. However, remember, Benelli, when it was Italian, was just out of most people's price ranges. Now it's made by the Chinese, it's affordable, it's approachable, and the designs are still, for want of a better description, very Italianesque, which is what most people look for when they look for an Italian bike. They want that Italian flair, that Italian design. So this little lion, this Leoncino, is truly an exceptional bike. Of course, there aren't many rivals to this bike, in my humble opinion, other than the Yamaha XSR 700. But then that jumps both in price, in power, and dare I say, in performance. I would, however, add that in reality, it's not really comparing like for like. And therefore, I still stand by the fact that in its truth, there are very few competitors to this bike. Though Benelli was known for its race bikes, this is no race bike. It doesn't have that torque, that acceleration that race bikes have, but then it wasn't pitched as a race bike. It handles corners, as I said before, well, it looks good, and it still offers a lot for the price point it's pitched at. ABS is standard, and the heart of this bike, the parallel twin 500cc engine, offers a really smooth performance for a 500cc engine. In fact, I would say it feels more than 500cc. The 500 has been placed in both the Leoncino, the 502X, which is an adventure bike, and its baby cruiser, the 502C. I have ridden all three, and I have to confess that the engine does not let you down in any shape or form. The brakes, like the looks, are very sharp, so you know when you want it to stop, it will definitely stop, and that is what you want from a bike, from its braking. So in a nutshell, the positives: ABS as standard. It looks the part. Aesthetically, it's a very, very beautiful bike. It's not a heavy bike. That makes it a bike that appeals to people who are moving up from 125 and have an A2 license. In the beginning, I said it was mid in many ways, and it truly is, but that does not mean it's not a great bike for an experienced rider. I think it's an excellent second bike, or an excellent first bike if you're moving up. The 47 ponies that the parallel twin engine offers are more than adequate, I feel. Every time I've tried to overtake, its burst of power, as demonstrated right now, is sufficient to handle pretty much most situations. So that's all the positives. But where are the negatives? Well, only a few negatives I can see, and these are easily rectifiable through post-purchase add-ons. One, it really does need a little windscreen. When you go fast, you feel the wind knocking you back to, fro, side to side. So a windscreen. And one of my pet peeves is that bikes nowadays should always have a USB charger port, because we all use phones and sat-navs and other items that need charging whilst on the move. The LCD is very basic, though it's very informative, and from what I gather from other reviews of the Leoncino, it does steam up. Sometimes you get water in it. I haven't thus far, but I do believe that is a common fault in the Leoncino. I think really that's about as far as I will go in terms of its negatives. One has to keep in mind that this is a subjective review from my perspective, and also the second thing, that this is a review of a bike which is pitched at £5,000 or just a little bit over, brand new. So one cannot expect luxury quality and high spec that you would receive from things that cost twice or even thrice the price. So overall, it's a thumbs up from me. And what did you say, young Leoncino? And the bike is telling me it's a thumbs up from it. Now for the spec sheets. So those will be on screen in 3, 2, 1. So a final point, food for thought really. One forgets that the relationship a biker has with its bike is a symbiotic relationship, where there can be synergies, in other words, 1 and 1 make 3, and often there can be situations where you and the bike just don't gel well. So keep this in mind, because factors like your height, your weight, your age, your general disposition, whether you like faster bikes or slower bikes, whether you like the views around the road or whether you like just great fast roads, whether you like twisties, whether you like straights, all this factors into what is the best bike for you. So when you watch these reviews, do understand the review is only 50%. 50% boils down to how you feel, how you operate, how you ride. God bless, stay safe, especially those on 2 wheels.